is, two necklaces in one. So where you can wear it short with the toggle, or you can open it up and wear it long. So I talk about that as I'm stacking my hostess. I have a list of all of the pieces that work well together.
Yes. I'm just stacking your hostess.
Sorry, I knew I was that question. So with my hostess, if you are my hostess, I have a list of. I have it in here somewhere. I have a list of all of the hostess benefits. So she gets 20%. She gets 20% free just for having the party. So then I put about 4 pieces of jewelry on her, and then 4 bonus items.
So you actually put the jewelry on her?
Yes, I actually put the jewelry on my hostess, and then she gets 4 bonus items and how much she would pay for all of those, and then the 5 half-price items, 40% for free, and then if there's any additional bonus items this month, like the $10 necklace that she would get as the June hostess. So then at the end, my hostess is standing here with about $1,000 worth of jewelry, and she's only going to pay about $200 for it. So it's a really nice visual. And as I'm stacking her, I'm talking about the pieces that go together. So I talk about, and on my list, I have a lot of pieces that do work nicely together. So I have the sea glass that goes with the deep sea, like how these 2 pieces go together, and how the blues really come out when you put those in the middle. And then I have how you can wear I talked about the Violet Hour. I like the Fantasia with the Fruity Pebbles, so it's, a nice simple summer necklace with a fun summer bracelet, so those pieces go nicely together. So I just pile stuff on my hostess, and then at the end of that, I tell everybody to pull out those cards. So as my hostess is standing here with all of her jewelry on, I say, get out your cards, ladies. And we talk about in the next minute, we're going to have a sale. So my hostess needs to get 10 orders, and she also needs to get 2 bookings. And all of you are here to help with her with the 2 bookings. So in the next minute, you can pick an item in the catalog up to $100 and pay the price that's on your card if you decide in the next minute that you want to have a show.
Oh, sign me up.
So then I time, and I normally get the jumpers. If I don't get the jumpers, then I go around and I'm just like, what's on your card? What's on your card? $2, why aren't you having a party? What's on your, and then I kind of like get my hostess involved, and we will harass the customers in the audience, for lack of a better word. So, but normally it works. I normally at least get 1 during the 1-minute sale, and it's nice to have the hostess there with the visual of all of this jewelry, and then you have the card of, the $2 or the $4.
What is your range of cards?
I do the 10s and below. So I don't normally go over the 10s. So when I first started, I was going with the face cards, and I didn't see a lot of people getting it because they can get it for 15. So I did the 10 or the below. So. Any other questions on that? Okay. Any other questions in general? Okay. Let's dig for the letter M.
Measuring tape.
All right.
Nice.
I've
been waiting. That's the only thing I have that's unusual.
Money's a good one. So my M also stands for money. So this is where I talk about how much money I make with Sophia. I tell them that I consistently make about $1,000 a month doing this part-time. I actually show them my first profit check. After 1 month of being with Leah Sophia, I made $1,170. So I pass this around. I normally get a lot of eyeballs, and then I normally get a lot of questions that start asking about, how many hours does it take, what's your investment, and all of those types of things. And then I also talk about the starter kit. And I have a flyer in here as well that has the starter kit, that it's a one-time investment of $149, and here's everything that you get, and I pass this around as well. Okay. All right, I have one more letter. My letter is the letter T.
Toothbrush.
Tupperware. So with my letter T, I talk about the trip. And I have my poster that I carry to every show, and I talk about the trip that we are going to go on next year. And I open it up, and I talk about it, and I get really excited, and I say, you can come to this trip with me. It's all expense paid. I talk about where I am, that I'm almost halfway there, and that if you join my team today, you could definitely earn this trip and go with me in next March as well. So, and I normally get a lot more questions around the trip itself, and how much it costs, is it tax-free, and all those things. So, and then I pass out my catalog, and I tell everybody to use their wish list. And then I just kind of go from there and just go by customer, answer their questions that they have. I invite them up to look at my jewelry. I tell them to try the jewelry on. I just ask them not to take it home with them. So that normally gets some jokes. But yeah, and then I just help them and go. And then at that point, I do more one-on-one, and that's where I really start my upselling. And if I didn't get my 2 bookings, then I will get my second booking when I'm doing the upsell and placing their orders. So yeah.
What's this for?
At the end, whoever has the most gets $5 off their order that day. But they have to place their order that day. And I've actually had people not use that before, so which I know it's kind of weird. So what questions do you guys have for me? Because I feel like that was pretty quick. But normally it's longer because there's more questions. Like
what all letters did you use?
I have a cheat sheet in here, so you can just copy it.
So I like your presentation because you have everything you need, like resources right back. Yeah,
I like
and
that.
resources right back to everything.
It's a different twist on the first game.
Yeah.
I like it. And I do try to get in, so I try to get into some combos. I go back and forth. Like when I talk about the wish list, sometimes I might talk about some of the jewelry. But when I'm stacking my hostess is when I really talk about like how the pieces work together, because I have it on a list of the things I want to stack her with that are going to work with each other. So that way you can say, this is how they all interact with each other. So.
Can you show a few more of those?
Yeah, absolutely. So I do this piece with the Wanderlust. So I like this piece how it's nice and long, and then you can take the, I think it's Lucky in Love, you can take this one off and stick it on. So that's another one that I will show. I also show this, which I have Bellini with, I can't think of this one, but there's 2 necklaces on here. So I talk about how you can just wear that one by itself, but then layering it up with this one creates a nice long, look.
Maybe tag all your jewelry.
I tag some of it. I tag most of it. Some of it that I get throughout I normally tag at the front when I get my new catalog, and then the ones I get, I'm really bad about tagging. I like to talk about the Capriani because it has the 3 necklaces in one. So I do talk about how you can take these off and you can wear them separately, or you can wear them as bracelets. So you have 2 necklaces and a bracelet, or you can have 3 bracelets. So that normally gets a lot of ooze. And then when I tell them that it's $130, but they can get it for $20, they like that as well.
What are your upsell techniques? So how are you upselling?
So if they come to me and they only have 2 items on their wish list, I definitely get them to add a 3rd, and I will normally go to what their highest one is and say, if you get one at less than this, even if it's like a $42 item, if you get one less, if you add on a pair of earrings, and I'll even suggest some. So I've got some in my, like these Dewy, which come in silver and gold. I'll suggest these because they're $22. I'm like, if you throw these on, that $40 or $50 item is half price. And you get 3 items for essentially the same price that you were buying for 2. And sometimes it'll push them over as well. If they're at 1, I still just talk about the customer special again, like, if you get 3 items, one of them is half price. I don't get everybody, but I at least encourage that way. And then if I see the pieces that they have, if I recognize them, then I will try to throw on things that I know look well with those pieces. So, like that, I would probably, recommend like the Ocean Air or the Breezeway and stuff like that. So, yeah. But the earrings are the biggest. I try with the earrings. I keep all my earrings here, and I try to keep these close to me when I'm checking them out, so that way I can just grab like, hey, add these on because they're cheap, and it'll get that one for half off. So, and they tend to throw them on there. But if they've got a really expensive item, I'm not going to push it too much because it's going to be more to get the really expensive item from them.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What else do I? Other
Well,
pieces?
if you get the expensive item, you can almost, like, I just had a show, and I just told the girl, well, you just basically have these for the same price as what you would have paid had you not gone
Right.
back,
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. I also talk about the Maddie, this one, because it is the 2 necklaces in one. So this is another big favorite, and we talk about, how you could wear the long necklaces, the 7 different ways. I tell them there's like 15 different possibilities with this necklace because you can wear them together, separately. I've wore this beaded one as a bracelet. Mine's like tempered up here. I've wore this beaded one as a bracelet before, but this is another big hit with my parties when I talk about this piece because there are so many different possibilities.